They say betrayal changes you, but I never imagined how far it could push someone. Imagine trusting the person you loved most, only to discover they've been living a secret life, laughing, smiling, and celebrating with someone else. And then imagine getting to watch the consequences land, in a way they never expected. If you've ever been hurt, lied to, or betrayed, and love seeing karma unfold perfectly, hit that like button and subscribe. This story is a lesson in patience, strategy, and the perfect revenge. I still remember the day everything shifted, the day I realized that the person I trusted with my life could betray me so effortlessly. My buddy, let's call him Jake, had been dating Amanda for a little over 2 years. They were living together, navigating the usual ups and downs of a young couple. Things had been rough lately, arguments over money, time, little misunderstandings, but Jake never imagined it would escalate to the level of absolute deception. Amanda had told him she was going to visit her family 600 kilometers away. A week-long trip, she said. Jake trusted her. He packed a few things for her, wished her safe travels, and waved goodbye. It seemed normal. Routine. Ordinary. But life has a twisted sense of irony. A few days into her trip, Jake received a notification, a social media alert. A photo from a mutual acquaintance. He opened it, expecting, well, he didn't really know what he expected. But nothing could have prepared him for what he saw. Amanda. Sitting at a sunlit restaurant patio. Laughing. Leaning into her ex, glasses raised. Smiles wide. Laughter frozen in a digital snapshot. The intimacy between them was undeniable, casual, almost cruel. Jake's stomach twisted. Heat and cold collided in his chest. His hands shook as he scrolled through more photos. He felt rage bubble, mingled with disbelief, with heartbreak, with a hollow emptiness that spread from his chest to his limbs. Every memory of late-night talks, quiet dinners, even their small fights now felt meaningless. And then, almost reflexively, he pulled out his own phone and snapped photos. Evidence. Proof. He needed something tangible to hold on to because the image burned itself into his mind. Every laugh, every gesture, every touch, it was recorded, undeniable. He went home after that, pacing the apartment. The air felt heavy, like it had thickened around him. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. The betrayal had left him raw, trembling, a mix of fury and devastation. He replayed the images over and over, imagining the stories Amanda would tell to hide the truth, imagining the lies he had been fed. But even in that anguish, clarity emerged. There was one detail Amanda had overlooked: she wasn't on the lease. Jake was. He had complete control over the apartment. And that, suddenly, gave him power, something he hadn't felt since the betrayal hit. Over the next weeks, Jake didn't confront Amanda. He didn't yell, didn't scream, didn't beg. He stayed distant. He mentioned couples therapy casually, a suggestion he knew she wouldn't take seriously. He avoided intimacy, though it hardly mattered, she wasn't offering it either. He observed her routines, her lies, her little slips, all while quietly preparing his exit. Amanda, meanwhile, flaunted her freedom without realizing the web she was walking into. She stayed out late, sometimes saying she was crashing at friends' houses. Sometimes she'd return home, exuding the arrogance of someone who thought she could do anything without consequences. Jake's silence became a weapon. Every casual nod, every okay was a reminder that he was aware, that he wasn't going to react impulsively, that the game was now on his terms. The landlord, a reasonable and understanding man, kept quiet on Jake's actions. They arranged times for prospective tenants to visit while Amanda was away or occupied, ensuring that Jake's next steps would remain undisputed. It all came down to timing, precision, and observation. Then came moving day. The morning air was crisp, early sunlight streaming through the windows. The moving crew arrived promptly, boxes and packing materials in tow. Jake moved with a calm he didn't entirely feel, yet. Furniture was wrapped, electronics carefully boxed, personal items stacked with precision. Amanda, still groggy from a late night out, wandered into the living room and froze. What's happening?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. Jake handed her a stack of printed photos. Every smile with her ex. Every night she claimed to spend with friends. Every lie meticulously documented. Her color drained as she stared, muttering a weak, I can explain." Before she could finish, the landlord interjected, calm but authoritative. "You have until midnight to remove your belongings. If not, everything will be put on the curb. New tenants move in 2 days. No exceptions." Jake took one last photo. Amanda, surrounded by the chaos of her own creation, clothes and toiletries in a heap, furniture boxed, his composure perfectly contrasting her panic. It was the moment where weeks of silent strategy, sleepless nights, and careful observation culminated in a single image. And yet, this was just the beginning. The true satisfaction of revenge, the thrill, the precision, the psychological payoff, hadn't yet fully unfolded. She thought she was untouchable, laughing, careless, free. But every move she had made had been tracked, every lie documented. And soon, she would face the consequences she never saw coming. The days after that first shocking moment were like walking through a fog. Jake moved through the apartment as if on autopilot, each step measured, each gesture deliberate. Amanda tried to maintain the facade of normalcy, pouring coffee, scrolling on her phone, humming casually as she floated through the rooms, but the subtle tension was palpable. He could feel it, even if she didn't admit it aloud. Every glance, every half-smile, every pause in conversation was a small confirmation of what he already knew: she was hiding, pretending, yet unraveling from the inside. And yet, despite knowing the truth, Jake felt uneasy. There were moments when the hurt hit like a tidal wave, leaving him breathless, trembling. Betrayal has a strange way of twisting your own mind, making you question your worth, your judgment, even your sanity. Was he overreacting? Was he being too cold, too calculated? Every night, he'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the sheets tangled around him, heart racing, mind spinning. Sleep became a luxury he couldn't afford. Amanda's behavior didn't help. She stayed out late under the guise of friends' gatherings, occasionally returning home in a haze of casual arrogance. Jake didn't follow her, didn't confront her. Instead, he observed quietly, taking note of every detail, collecting evidence like a predator circling its prey. Receipts, texts, photos, inconsistencies, each one reinforced the picture of her betrayal. Each slip of her tongue, each careless admission, was a brick in the foundation of his eventual plan. Some nights, the anxiety became almost physical. His chest tightened, stomach knotted, hands trembling as he paced the apartment. He imagined confronting her, yelling, shaking, demanding answers, but he didn't. Anger alone wasn't enough. Strategy required restraint. The thrill of planning, the anticipation, the knowledge that he was still in control, it became almost intoxicating. Every sleepless night, every tense day, was part of the preparation. Friends began to notice his change. "You seem distant," one friend remarked. "Are you okay?" Jake forced a smile, nodding casually. "Yeah, just work stress," he replied. But inside, he was anything but calm. The betrayal had shifted something deep within him, a quiet, simmering storm of patience and precision. Meanwhile, Amanda's mistakes became more frequent. She forgot to log out of accounts, left receipts lying around, casually mentioned nights with her ex. Each slip was a victory, reinforcing his belief that the ultimate confrontation would be flawless. He began subtly testing her. Small manipulations, tiny shifts in his own behavior, each one designed to make her uneasy, to elicit a reaction without her realizing she was under scrutiny. The apartment became a theater, and Jake was both director and observer. He imagined moving day endlessly, her reaction, her panic, the precise orchestration of evidence and logistics. He rehearsed in his mind dozens of scenarios, refining each one until it felt inevitable, perfect. Even with this clarity, doubt lingered. What if she discovered his preparations? What if the landlord changed his mind? What if something went wrong, and the carefully laid plan collapsed? These fears haunted him during quiet moments, while pouring coffee, washing dishes, or simply staring out the window. Yet each doubt was countered by a growing sense of empowerment. He wasn't powerless anymore. He was patient, calculated, and in control. Days stretched into weeks, and the tension between them became almost unbearable. Amanda remained blissfully unaware, her arrogance intact, while Jake's restraint and precision sharpened with every passing day. Every casual glance, every careless remark she made, fueled the anticipation. He was readying himself for the perfect storm, but the storm required time, preparation, and the exquisite thrill of waiting for the moment when everything would fall into place. Finally, the countdown to moving day began. The boxes were purchased, moving company confirmed, the landlord aligned with the plan. Every piece of the puzzle was in place, yet Jake felt a strange exhilaration in waiting. He imagined Amanda standing in the middle of the apartment, seeing the culmination of her lies laid bare, watching as the power shifted completely. And even then, he maintained calm. The ultimate satisfaction wouldn't come from chaos or anger, it would come from precision, from the complete reversal of control. She thought she was untouchable. Every lie, every careless smile, every unguarded moment had been documented. And little did she know, the day when reality would crush her arrogance was drawing nearer, inch by inch, perfectly timed. By now, Jake's initial shock and heartbreak had transformed into something sharper, colder, and far more deliberate. The betrayal had left him hollow, but it had also clarified one thing: he wasn't powerless anymore. For weeks, he had observed, documented, and prepared. Every slip Amanda had made, every lie she had told, was another thread in the web he was weaving, and the day it would all collapse was fast approaching. The first step was absolute control over logistics. He confirmed with the landlord every detail: prospective tenants could visit while Amanda was away, the timing of moving day, and the limits of her access. Every variable was accounted for. The moving company was discreetly booked, arriving early on a weekday morning to avoid suspicion. Boxes were purchased, furniture carefully mapped, and valuables documented. Everything had to be precise. Any small error could tip her off or undermine the psychological impact he was building. But Jake knew the real power wasn't in the logistics, it was psychological. He began imagining, in exacting detail, Amanda's reaction when she finally realized the consequences of her actions. He pictured her standing in the living room, confusion and panic twisting her features. Her attempts to bargain, to protest, to manipulate, he anticipated each one and rehearsed calm, almost detached responses. The contrast between his control and her unraveling would make the moment perfect. In the meantime, he continued observing her behavior, noting every misstep. She left receipts lying around, bragged casually about nights out, hinted at rendezvous with her ex, all without realizing that Jake had logged everything. Each careless action fueled his sense of inevitability. Her arrogance, the same arrogance that had caused this entire mess, now played directly into his plan. Some nights, Jake would lie awake, heart racing, imagining moving day down to the smallest detail, how the boxes would be stacked, how Amanda would attempt to salvage her belongings, and how he would remain composed throughout. His adrenaline surged not from anger but from anticipation, the thrill of seeing months of strategy and patience reach their climax. He also tested Amanda subtly. A misplaced item here, a quiet comment there, hints that he was aware. She reacted with fleeting unease, hesitation, a slightly tighter smile, a glance she quickly averted. Each tiny reaction reassured Jake that the plan was on course, and that when the moment arrived, the psychological impact would be devastating. Despite the meticulous planning, there were close calls. One evening, Amanda returned home earlier than expected, absent from her usual haunts. Jake's pulse spiked. He maintained casual composure, but inside, his mind raced through every contingency. Another time, she nearly discovered one of his stacked boxes. He gently redirected her attention, heart thudding, adrenaline simmering, but the plan remained intact. These near misses only heightened the intensity, sharpening his focus and making the ultimate payoff even sweeter. In these weeks of preparation, Jake underwent a profound internal transformation. The betrayal had initially left him feeling small, powerless, and humiliated. Now, he felt empowered, precise, and almost invincible. The sleepless nights, the anxiety, the endless observation, they all contributed to a singular focus, execution. Finally, the day of departure was imminent. The moving company called to confirm, the landlord reminded him of new tenants, and everything in the apartment was in its final state of readiness. Jake's hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. This was the moment when months of planning, observation, and restraint would pay off. He visualized Amanda's final realization, her panic, confusion, and helplessness as the weight of her actions hit her all at once. He imagined the last photo he would take, capturing her and her possessions in perfect contrast to his calm composure. And he waited, savoring the anticipation, knowing that this careful, calculated patience would make the eventual satisfaction all the sweeter. She thought the worst had passed. She believed she was in control, that her freedom and arrogance would shield her. But the stage was set, the pieces were in place, and in just a matter of hours, her world would be upended in a way she could never have imagined. The morning of moving day dawned crisp and clear, almost deceptively serene. Sunlight poured through the apartment windows, painting long shadows across the carefully organized boxes and stacked furniture. Jake moved quietly among the piles, clipboard in hand, directing the moving crew with calm precision. His heart was steady, but beneath that composure, a low hum of anticipation thrummed through him. This was the culmination of months of planning, sleepless nights, and careful observation, the day when the full weight of Amanda's betrayal would finally meet consequence. Amanda wandered into the living room, yawning, hair disheveled from a late night out, and froze. The familiar ease and arrogance in her stance vanished. Her eyes flickered over the stacked boxes, the carefully wrapped furniture, the systematic organization of every possession. What's happening?" she asked, her voice wavering. Panic tugged at the edges of her words. Jake handed her the stack of photos, physical evidence, meticulously selected, undeniable. Every dinner with her ex, every night supposedly spent with friends, every careless lie she had told. Each image was a hammer striking the foundation of her arrogance. I can explain," she stammered, her voice trembling. She looked around, searching for allies, for loopholes, for some sign that the rules weren't absolute. But there were none. Before she could speak further, the landlord stepped in, calm and unyielding. "You have until midnight to remove your belongings. After that, it will all be put on the curb. New tenants move in 2 days. No exceptions." Amanda's panic escalated. She stumbled from box to box, gathering clothes and toiletries in frantic piles. She pleaded, bargained, tried to manipulate, but Jake remained composed, almost clinical. He didn't shout, he didn't yell, he didn't gloat. The contrast between her frantic energy and his icy calm only magnified the psychological impact. Jake took one last photograph. Amanda, surrounded by chaos of her own making, her possessions in heaps, furniture boxed, his serene composure framed perfectly, captured the triumph of meticulous planning and patience. The picture wasn't just proof of betrayal, it was proof of justice. The hours crawled by. Amanda tried calling friends, begging for assistance, attempting to sway the landlord. None of it worked. Every effort she made underscored the precision of Jake's planning, the inevitability of the consequences, and the futility of her arrogance. Watching her unravel was a strange mix of satisfaction and relief. The betrayal that had once left him hollow, anxious, and powerless now transformed into empowerment, clarity, and vindication. Every sleepless night, every nervous moment, every calculated observation had led to this, the perfect execution of justice, measured, deliberate, and undeniable. Finally, Amanda gathered her remaining belongings and disappeared, the apartment left in quiet, orderly disarray. Jake exhaled, a weight lifting from his shoulders. He sank into a chair, exhaustion and exhilaration washing over him. The storm that had raged inside him since the discovery of her betrayal had passed, leaving a rare clarity. Control had been regained, dignity restored, and justice served. In the days that followed, stories of the moving day spread quietly among their friend group. Jake's patience, composure, and precision became legend, not for vanity, but as a testament to what measured, deliberate action can achieve. But for Jake, the victory wasn't public. It was private, personal, and complete. Amanda's humiliation, the reversal of power, the undeniable evidence, it was his alone to savor. He reflected on the entire ordeal, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, the strategic observations, and finally, the execution. This wasn't about revenge for revenge's sake. It was about reclaiming power, asserting dignity, and demonstrating that betrayal does not have to leave you broken. It can be transformed into resolution, control, and ultimately, justice. The story isn't just about karma. It's about strategy, patience, and the meticulous reclaiming of what was taken from you. Jake didn't act impulsively or cruelly. He observed, planned, and executed with precision. And in that execution, he found not only revenge but also clarity, peace, and closure. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge isn't loud, it's quiet, methodical, and utterly inevitable. If you've ever been betrayed, or love seeing karma unfold perfectly, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that patience, strategy, and precision can turn even the deepest betrayal into a triumph of justice.